tips to deal with stress in chaotic times, because chaos happens in this world and we can't pretend it's not there. We can't run away from it. Well, we could actually, but
We can.
so here's
us.
so you know what, I'm going to kick us off with the first tip is to not avoid. Do not avoid what is happening in your world. You know, is there chaos? Is there crazy making situations? Are there people putting demands on you? Have you got a lot of to-dos on your head? It's about allowing yourself to say, you know, that we talk about this, right? What that which you avoid or that which you ignore gets louder and louder and louder, right? What you resist persists.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome, dear Deb.
Hello.
Never quite sure what tone of voice we're going to be greeted with.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
Nope, just showing up. Welcome, dear listeners. Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset conversations, podcast conversations with Debz. That's Debz over there in New Zealand.
Me.
And me, Moira, over here in Canada. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today. We're going to talk about tips to deal with stress in chaotic times. So I'm sure the word discombobulating is going to come up a fair few times in this conversation. I just have that awareness there. So listeners, if you've been with us before, you know that before we get launched into our tips and inspiration for you, we like to do what we call our PEMS check-in. And what we're doing, PEMS check-in is just a beautiful self-awareness tool. And it's actually really helpful if you are going through chaotic times to just check in with yourself. So PEMS stands for physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So it's like the 4 pillars of your own well-being. And we use a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is when you're calm and pieced out and blissed out and zen. Everything's just awesome in your world. And then 10 is the other end of that spectrum where discombobulation is just like flashing lights all the time and feeling stuck and chaotic, and definitely that's the chaos is up there. And the truth is we move up and down that scale all the time. I know that Deb and I have both experienced way beyond 10, and I'm sure you have too, listeners, because we can't be on this game of life without having experienced that from time to time. But the key piece here with this assessment idea is that once we just kind of say, oh, okay, there it is, I'm at a 4, then you can let go and see, are there things you can do? Are there things that you don't need to get caught up in? And then just carry on and kind of do your check-ins. I actually encourage you to do this check-in at the start of your day and then throughout your day to just see, how are you interacting with your day? So all that being said, where are you, dear Deb?
1.5.
Oh, that's so funny. I was just writing down 1.5 for myself too.
Oh, really?
So snap. Like Deb said in one of our previous episodes, we are often either 0.5 between each other or we're smack on the same. It must be because we actually talk for a fair while off air before we even hit record. So we get our energies attuned. But this is I think this is such an important conversation to be having. Tips to deal with stress in chaotic times, because chaos happens in this world. And we can't pretend it's not there. We can't run away from it. Well, we could actually. But
We can.
so
Gonna check
here's
us.
so you know what, I'm going to kick us off with the first tip is to not avoid. To not avoid what is happening in your world. You know, is there chaos? Is there crazy making situations? Are there people putting demands on you? Have you got a lot of to-dos on your head? It's about allowing yourself to say, you know, that we talk about this, right? What that which you avoid or that which you ignore gets louder and louder and louder, right? What you resist persists. And so when you're feeling stressed out, sometimes that being able to just show up for it and not avoid it means you put your hand on your heart and you take a deep breath and you say, come on in, invite it in. And know that even just by doing that, you can acknowledge it's around me, it's coming through me, but I've got this. So my tip is don't avoid it, but do something like putting your hand on your heart and focus on your breath, right?
I actually added hand on heart as a separate tip.
Okay, we'll do that.
The reason I'm just interjecting here is because not avoiding is really valid.
Yeah.
Or all of them are valid, but 100% just don't avoid. But then a whole separate tip is hand on heart and just reminding yourself you live there. That physical, taking the brain, grabbing your hand, putting it on your heart takes that chaotic time. I'm like, oh, just put my hand on my heart. It's gonna just knowing that, like, don't avoid it. Okay, what do I have to do? Put my hand on my heart. They're like two. One's left, one's right, or not.
Yep. No, I completely agree with you.
So valid that it can just, and the one I love about hand on heart, and Moira has a bigger explanation about it. She definitely downplayed it here. I just say hand on heart and remind myself I live there. And I can do it in a public space.
Yeah.
Because there's many things that when sometimes with these chaotic times happen, they're in a public space that aren't convenient for you to have a meltdown
or a tantrum. Yeah.
We're in the supermarket, chaos has happened, and just hand on heart is something you can do in a public space that people don't go, oh, what's she doing? That draw more attention to you. It's something you can do discreetly that allows you to deal with that chaotic time in a public space. Now, I know the people I mentor, I've told them, and sometimes they've watched me on my Zoom presentations, and somebody says something, and I'll just literally just take my hand and put it on my heart. And while I'm dealing, and they're like, oh, we know that triggered Deborah, or we know that stirred something. They know because they know me now. But it's also something you can do. You don't have to tell people, oh, I have to put my hand on my heart because you've peeved me off or anything, or the universe is not doing what I said it was supposed to do, or any of that sort of stuff. It's just something that's so simple.
Yep.
In a public space. I don't know. I'm really firm on that. You can do it in a public space and people don't know. Unless you're being mentored by me and you're like, we know what she's doing right now. She's got two hands on her heart. She must go, whatever. I don't put two hands, but it just means you can do it publicly.
I do.
Oh, do you? Today I'm going to be putting two hands on because I said I just don't. But it just means you can do it in a public space. It's not going to draw in, because you don't want people looking at you. If you're in a chaotic situation, the last thing you want is people pulling up their popcorn to watch. because we do get attached to other people's drama. But if you can put your hand on your heart, it's just one you can do in that public space.
I could completely agree with you. One of the powerful things about it is that hand on your heart, even if you say, you don't have to say, I live here. You could literally just put your hand on your heart and just feel that there. There's a couple of things that are happening when we do this. The main one being, and this is what I'm thinking about within chaotic times, it's actually soothing your nervous system. And sometimes, like to deal with stress and chaotic times, that puts your nervous system into complete chaos, right? It's like your nervous system is jangling, you're into fight or flight mode, and you, oh my God, I'm in danger, I'm not safe. That's the reptilian brain kind of takes us into that type of overdrive. Whereas when we put our hand on our heart, we're calming our nervous system. When I put both hands on my heart, and I actually often do this in group sessions, and funny that you're saying that when people see you do that, it's like, oh, Deb was triggered.
They're like
Sometimes,
that.
so
Not
when people
very
see me
also.
doing it, it's sometimes it's because I'm needing to calm my nervous system, but other
Yeah.
times it's because I want to make sure that that which I'm speaking, those words that I am about to share with you, or tips, are actually coming from my heart. And so there's two, to me, there's two ways of using that. And that's why it's part of my toolkit, my self-soothing kit, is that yes, it's great to self-soothe that way, but it's also a beautiful reminder to align. And maybe this is a third tip all of itself, is to make sure that you're showing up with your head and your heart and your higher self all aligned in this moment. And to me, that's the best way to do it, is because the heart in many philosophies is known as the seat of the soul. And so to me, I can drop out of my chattering mind, which is where a lot of that stress and chaos story stuff is coming from, is our head. And it might be like saying, Kate, I've vacated the heart space, or I'm not accessing the higher self. So that's that. I just wanted to sort of really put that in about the head, heart, and higher self can actually be tapped into with great ease simply by putting your hand on your heart, saying, hello, here I am.
And I think that made me, when you were talking that, it's also when people are sharing a story or people are saying something and you have that, oh my gosh, what a challenging wobble you're going through, or what a thing. And so it's like I'm not going to use the word empathy, but it's like a
Compassion.
heart,
It's compassion.
it's that
Sharing
heart energy
compassion. Yeah.
again, like actually I hear you, I feel that. So
Mhm.
it is that holding space for somebody else
Yeah.
is the other one. But it got me actually thinking, surprise, I wrote a tip down, which I usually say it every single one, is everyone wants to be seen, heard, acknowledged.
Oh, yes. I like this one. It's so important.
You yourself want to be seen, heard, acknowledged in any conversation. Other people want to be seen, heard, acknowledged, even if they say they're an introvert and they don't. Look, everybody wants to be seen, heard, and acknowledged in their way. So when we're talking about the hand on heart, holding that heartfelt energy for other people as well, there's that. But also when we're dealing with chaotic times, remembering that everyone wants to be seen, heard, acknowledged, and you don't, I'm going to add another caveat, you don't have to attach to their story.
Mm.
So maybe seen, heard, acknowledged is one, but the next one could be you don't have to attach to their story, because this is their storybook. This is their stuff. So I trust everybody got all that.
But I've always loved your tip here about the scene. Everybody needs to be, or is wanting to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. But we need to see, hear, and acknowledge our own selves.
Yeah, it's not just
Right?
other people. It's
Yeah.
100%
Has to
because
start internally first.
if you're not seeing, hearing, and feeling it, if you're not seeing, hearing, acknowledging yourself, no one else will, and then
Yeah.
you just get more and more frustrated. So everything comes back to us. It literally all comes back to us, reminding ourselves we live here in our heart. Oh yes, oh that's their story. Oh, it's
Yeah.
back to us. Oh, seen, heard, acknowledged. Oh, it's back. It all comes back to, surprise, us. But yeah, seen, heard, acknowledged, and you don't have to agree with them. I also just want to add that you don't have to agree with them. You're just agreeing that you can see them, hear them, acknowledge them. You don't have to, you don't have to agree. Is quite a big one.
That's a really big one. I just started writing down a tip on
Surprise.
the feet on the heels of that one.
Yeah.
Is it might be useful. Like if you're do your PEMS check-in and you're at a 10, that's not the best time to be asking you this question. But if you can get yourself, to a 5 or lower,
Yeah.
it might be useful to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and say, what is the reflection of this chaos in me?
Yeah.
Breathe into that. What is this reflecting in me? Because perhaps I can soothe and dial down this level of chaos because I need to attend to an emotion or a mindset or a belief or an intention within me first.
Mhm.
Right? So this is
Yeah.
about doing the inner work in order to see the result in the outer world.
So see actually well, if you're not clear on what you want,
That's going to cause chaos.
you're gonna, if you're not specific and clear, and also if you're not specific and clear on what you want to achieve out there in this world, then the universe ain't going to give you that. The universe is going to give you whatever it feels like. It's like, oh, she'll do. She doesn't know what she wants. We'll just give her this. Let's start with this. Yeah.
Well, actually, to be honest with you, I think everybody does know what they want. They just haven't.
Well,
They
chaotic
haven't.
times don't let us see those things. Chaotic
That's
times
right. Yeah. But
louder,
it's like
smoke bomb going off. Yeah.
we haven't created space or reflection or contemplation, or sometimes it's just
Yeah.
that we haven't really allowed ourselves to drop into oh, it's okay for me to say I'd love to have this.
Yeah.
You know, I've mentioned the work of Abraham Hicks before on previous conversations, and there's this. Abraham Hicks talks so much about the laws of the universe and the law of attraction, and they also are very playful. The energy is very playful, and it's like it reminds us that it's supposed to be fun. So sometimes if you're having a hard time being clear on what it is you want, the game that they suggest, this Abraham Hicks work, is, wouldn't it be nice if, and have a game with it. Wouldn't it be nice if I have $1 million in the bank? Wouldn't it be nice if a Rolls Royce came to pick me up to take me out to a spa today? Wouldn't it be nice? And just have some fun with it and see where you.
I laugh that you're like, wouldn't it be nice? I literally just wrote down, I'll have that. I literally just wrote down, I'll have that. When you talk about, I'll have that. I'll have that. No, Moira's like, wouldn't it be nice to have that? Like, I'll have that. I'll have that. Literally. And you can take Moira's one or my one or in between or whatever works for you. But I just literally wrote down, I'll have that. I'll have that. I'll have that. It's like, yeah, why not? Why can't I have that? Yeah.
Of course, it's the catalog ordering system.
Exactly. Oh,
Yes
yep,
to that,
yep.
yes to that, and yes to that, and yes to that.
Oh,
I just like the playful, wouldn't it be nice? There's just a sort of a little skip. I feel like I'm skipping down the beach and saying, would it be
yeah,
nice?
like that. Yeah, it is. It does. It has that playful energy. It does. It just has that. I'll have, that. And
Yeah.
I think the thing with that also, I because my next thing I wrote down after I'll have that was life moves.
Yeah.
When I say life moves, this stress will move. This
Yep.
chaotic time will move. This podcast will move you. Somebody saying something, having sun in the sky moves you. Having rain outside moves you. It's not like this forever.
Mhm.
You may have been diagnosed a medical condition. It's not that. You are not just that medical condition. You may have you may have whatever's going on for you. You may be losing your job, being redundant. Whatever that is, it's going to move. The situation, I guarantee the situation you're in moves. It is not set in concrete. Pivot, my favorite word that came out of yeah. But life moves. Life moves for us. Nothing is set. This is the way it's going to be forever.
But the other thing too, in that, my next tip from that, because I completely agree with you. Nothing's set in concrete, nothing's set in stone.
Move the
But
goalpost.
the other part is we are never in a situation of chaos or stress or discombobulation. See, I told you that word was going to come in a few times. We're never in anything that we can't deal with, because otherwise we wouldn't be there. And so sometimes all we can do is look at the chaos, look at the stress, and put our hand on our heart and just say, I've got this. I might not be able to see how I've got this or how I need to get stepping out of it, but I've got this because I'm acknowledging that I am always in the right thing at the right time with doing the right, at the right place in my life, and nothing happens. It doesn't happen to me, it's happening for me. And so sometimes I can't work it out in my head, and to do so might feel like it's creating more chaos and stress. So therefore, I kind of just go, okay, I've got this. So there's that. That part is to acknowledge that we are always in the right place at the right time. There is no situation that we're in that we cannot get through. But the other part, just to jump on the follow-up tip to that, is
I know
trust.
I was just going to say, I know what word she
You
was going to
knew.
say there.
You just knew it had to. That was just like a no-brainer to follow into that. It's
I
like if
actually-
you let go of, why is this happening to me? Or, oh my God, this is terrible. I can never get through this. But yes, you can, because
Yeah.
you wouldn't be in it if you didn't. Right? And then, yes, trust. Trust you, trust yourself, trust others, and trust the universe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think trust. It took us this long to get to it. We label it as a tip. But the next one I'm also going to add after trust is Debz and Moira.
Yeah.
Moira and Debz. Debz. Or Moira. Or both. Like I'm
both, yeah.
literally just saying, we have your back. And I'm going to say, find somebody who can help you in this temporary space, and then move you, level you up. And I'm going to say Debz and Moira over friends and family. Even if you have a friend and family who has been in stress business that can help people and they've been in it years, they also have their agenda. So I'm going to say keep them as your friends, but use Deb and Moira to help you with this chaotic time, because our agenda is to level you up.
Yep.
Friends and family have a different agenda for you. Our whole intention is to remind you that we've got your back and we will meet you where you need to be met, and we will level you in a different way.
Definitely.
We have I think we're working out our years of how many years it's been, but we've definitely got over 75. I think we're closer to 80 years experience between us.
Yep.
We've crashed, burned, picked ourselves up. We've learned the experiences, wouldn't take anything back. We live and breathe what we give you in our podcast. We actually embed it in our life. We also go beyond the 10. And then we pull ourselves back, and that can happen like anything. So we're human as well, but we are here for you in whatever way that looks like. So don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be oh, this is a stupid question. They've given us a tip and I don't know how to do it. Please just reach out, because there's nothing worse than sitting in a space that you're in that chaotic time and you can't see the light. We'll shine the light right in your bloody eyes.
Well, no, we'll illuminate it. Yes, not right in your eyes, because then you can't see. You'll be blinded by the light.
Yeah, that's it.
I want to pick up on that and do a separate tip. And this is I've got a funny story to illustrate this tip. Funny, not funny. So what I wanted to say is to be wary. It's when you said about finding people to support you, to help you, to hold space for you that are not family. One of the things that I often say to my clients is to be very mindful of who you share your innermost beginnings of a dream or a like a dream or a goal or just getting some help with stress or calming down the chaos. And what I refer to is the work of Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill's book Think and Grow Rich. And I believe it's 13 principles that he came up with. And I love all of them. I've read that book multiple times, but the one that I really like is where he talks about when you have the seed of a new idea or the seed of something that you need help with, it's
Mm.
really, really important to speak to someone that you know has your back, that you know is your cheerleader. Because if you go and do that with someone who maybe doesn't or doesn't believe in these successes for you, you'll derail it. And so what I was saying is that I have a client who I actually said that to her in a couple of sessions ago. And it was why I was reflecting on this, is she wrote me an email because she went and told something to someone who she said that she thought of me right when it started to happen, because this person did not have her back and started telling her all the ways she was wrong.
Oh,
I know. And so that's what my client wrote to me. And she said all she could remember was me saying, be mindful. Because as soon as she started to tell this person this piece, she knew that it wasn't the right thing. But it was like, there's the proof of she created it. That's the point of it, is that when you tell somebody that you know, or you're not even quite sure if they might get it, then
yeah.
you're creating this discombobulation for yourself, which is really what she did, unfortunately. Thankfully, she's had a session with me since then, and all is well again.
And we've calmed the farm.
We've calmed the farm back down. Yep. Yep.
It's really common. I'm sitting right back with my hands behind my head going, this is really common here. This is really, really, really common. And it's but it doesn't have to be. I just want to say you don't have to be, like, things move. You don't, but you've just got to go. I go back to tip number 1, don't avoid. Just go, yeah, I've got something here. Let's crack on with whatever that is. But you're right, be mindful of others, because everybody has a motive. Everyone has a motive, what they do.
And you don't want to be taking on other people's agendas, especially when you're feeling fragile or tender, right? Because that's what this was with this client. She was very tender, and yeah, it was not a pretty situation.
Well, there you go. So there's only just Debz and Moira in this world that can problems you've got going on in your world. Clearly.
How to deal with stress in chaotic times? Just put us on speed dial. You're good.
Yeah. Well, actually, Moira, which is even a funny one that Moira gave me, which I literally got a text just before from someone saying that tip you gave me years ago finally worked. I'm like, how many times have you done it? And they said, just once. Okay, so you did it last night and now it's worked. And the tip I'm going to say is that Moira gave me was write it under the pillow.
Cool.
Yeah, I know. So that tip worked. Finally worked for me. I'm like, how many times have you done it? Just the once.
That's awesome.
No. Yeah. So the legit, these tips that we give you are stuff that works for us and others. I'm not gonna Google and make it up. I don't have time for that. But so write it down.
Yeah.
And that's
write it down on a slip of paper. So you're giving it up to your own higher conscious, to your guides. And so there's a piece of surrender in there, which is really beautiful. I don't have to
trust.
witter. Yeah.
No, there's nothing. It's just literally going back to that tip number 1, don't avoid, write it down, set the intention, which is all of our stuff we've said, set the intention it's going to be resolved, put it under your pillow, and in the morning, this problem's going to be resolved.
Yeah.
You let your mind do the work while you have a sleep. Yeah. And it's that trust again, and that belief, and that I set the intention it's going to work. All the tips we've got, but putting it under the pillow, and then wake up in the morning, and then you'll most likely forget. I will find out how the scenario went with this person, but I just had to Google because I just read it, and it was like, oh, it worked. Yeah.
They only tried it once, so that makes it even more epic. Because can you imagine if they started that practice then?
I know. I just have to giggle because he wrote, it finally worked for me, and I was like, oh my God, how many times have you done it? It's not worked. My head went instantly that.
Yeah, as you would.
I did go, how many times have you done it? Just one last night. I was like, Okay.
So
What you're
more
meaning
to the point
by-
was I finally
Yeah.
got it together to do what you suggested.
finally heard what you said. So look, so even just that there right under the pillow, that is another great one that moves into another tip of don't assume they know what you're talking about.
True.
Because I just assumed when he said, oh, it finally worked for me, I thought, oh my God, how many times have you done that? It's worked for me every single time. Like, I don't understand how it didn't work for you, was my running story that went in my head. And he said, no, just last night. So anyway, just last night, he put it under a pillow, and just last night it worked. So don't also assume that people have it. That's my other one. They understand what's going on in your world. If you're not answering their phone calls or anything like that, don't assume that things are worst case scenario or best case scenario. Like, just don't assume things.
Well, that actually, so I'm going to bring in the 4 agreements in on the heels of that one, because no assumptions is an agreement, but this is a beautiful, just to have the awareness of the 4 agreements is a beautiful way to deal with stress in chaotic times. And you could actually just have a little post-it note on your bedside table, talking about writing things down and putting it under your pillow, but you could have just a little slip of paper that says something to the effect of, just for today, I'm going to be impeccable with my word. Just for today, I'm not going to take anything personally. Just for today, I will not make any assumptions. And just for today, I'm going to do my best. And that's it. Step into your day. It's as simple as that. So we're giving you tips of how to set up your day. We already told you in previous episodes, do your PEMS check-in before you jump out of bed. And then as you jump out of bed, do that. Just for today, I'm going to be impeccable with my word. Just for today, I'm not making assumptions. Just for today, I won't take anything personally. I just reverse them. Just for today, I'm going to do my best.
Well, I even think, just when Moira was saying that about the 4 agreements, and then she said, just for today, that's a tip on its own. Just for
It
today.
makes it, well, see, it makes it easier, because I've had these conversations. Yeah, I've had these conversations about the 4 agreements with many people in the past of like, oh my God, that's huge. Those are really big to do. It was like, yeah, but if you do it just for today, who knows what tomorrow will bring.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Right?
Well, I know, and I actually haven't told you, so I'll just announce it here announce it here.
Announce it here.
It's not that exciting, everybody. It's okay. Just calm your phone. We're not going, nothing, not putting up my age or anything like that. But I actually, my partner took her, she does a sports team, and she took the girls away for their sport. They do a week of, in New Zealand, everybody does, all secondary schools, they all go away and they do a week. It's winter sport tournament. And I was saying to her about just for today, and I've been talking to her about just for today, and it's landed in her mind, and she was like, oh, I don't know about this. I don't know, because it's new for her.
Right.
It's new. She's her own mindset. It's new for her. So she said, you know what, I'm going to implement that just for today, because I've heard you talk about it so much, because, you can't put your hand in a pot of glue and something's sticking, because I definitely walk around for today, just for today. And she said, I'm going to do it just for this game.
Cool.
And just for this game, we're going to do this. And she said it did wonders for the team, because it allowed them to go, oh, just this game, we're going to try this. Instead of going,
awesome.
So
this is how you have to do it from here on out. I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
We do giggle, because I do share a little bit of mindset things around the house, just drop it. And just for today, I'm just going to drop this conversation in 10 times until she gets it. But I love that she moved it to just for this game.
I love that. That's such a beautiful stress reliever for all the people playing that game.
So if you're going into a meeting, just for this meeting, I'm going to do this. Like
Yeah.
it just even condenses it down smaller. And then before you know it, by the way, everybody, before you know it, you've put your hand in that pot of glue and it's stuck all the way right through your whole thing that you're actually just going to be
Right.
just for today. It's going to be just for this lifetime.
Yep.
But you don't even know that's what it is because that sounds so overwhelming. But she did just for this game. And I
love
love
it.
that. The girls, the high school students just went, oh, okay, we can do that for this game. They literally didn't have to worry about, are they going to make the tournament team? Are they going to, any of that? They just focused in the present. And even just for today allows you to focus in the present, but just for this game, just for
I love it.
Something.
That reminds me of that quote, and I don't know who said it. It might have been Ralph Waldo Emerson. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the one step.
Oh.
So I don't have to sweat about, oh my gosh, how on earth I'm going to make that journey? That's epic, 1,000 miles. No, it's just one step. One step.
Yeah. That's Nike. Just do it.
Yeah.
Another just do it. Just take the flipping step and then fall over or left, right, or whatever. But it is just for allows you to be that. So hence when Moira said 4 agreements and she started talking about just today, I really wanted to emphasize.
Yeah. The important part. Yeah. Thank you for that. And that, because it's very important because it's what it's actually underlining, and that's going to be my next tip, is be very wary of the story you're telling yourself about the stress or the situation or what the environment that you're in, because that's how come that just for today or just for this meeting or just for this game, that's proving why it's such an important piece, is because the stress that's being created is in our heads. Right? It's like, oh my God, oh, I have to do this way all the time. I have to get this right. And oh, what happens if I forget this? And that's just all crazy making thinking, creating stuff that's not really true. Right?
Yes. And I love that, which made me of course I wrote another tip down as you were doing that one. And I know we're coming up to time, people, but when Moira was saying be mindful of your story, I just went, be thankful for that story too.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh my gosh, we got all the way down here before we brought in gratitude.
I literally had a quick scan and went, no, there's no G word on there. That
Oopsie.
thing. Be grateful for this. There's blessings, there's appreciation, there's a gift in this. Have gratitude for the situation you're in, for the situation you're not in. Like be thankful for what you have right here, right now as well. So when you're mindful of that story and everything, when there's stress going on or chaotic times or anything, just stop and take that. Wow. Oh, this is interesting. This has come up today. Or wow, and with that gratitude, I'm going to add another tip, which we know it's going to be. It starts with C, and that's celebrate it. Celebrate that you've got something to live for, to have going on for you, to give you that heartbeat, to make you feel, which takes me back to the very first tip of not avoiding. So celebrate. So don't avoid. The very first tip is don't avoid, bring it in. But the last one is celebrate that you get to have something to work on and deal with right here, right now.
Definitely. And so that's the whole part, is that celebrate of, oh, look what I get to deal with. Look what I get to learn. Look what I get to experience. And that can apply to doesn't matter which end of the spectrum, the plus side or the minus side. It's still experience, and it's for you. Celebrating says everything's for me. And whenever you say celebrate, I just think of like purple and sparkles and red and glitter bombs.
I think of the streamers going off, going, righto, we've got something to unpack here. As much as I don't want to, I'm going to celebrate it. Because even when you know you're going to celebrate unpacking this, your whole level of stress in that chaotic time just instantly moves. You're like, okay, and you think of all these tips, but I get to celebrate that I can unpack this stressful, chaotic time. Allows you that instantly changes your PEMS on it. Now I know, am I wrapping up or who's wrapping up? I don't even know who's
you're wrapping up, my dear. Just one piece on that celebrate is I've recently restarted my own daily journaling practice.
Ah,
And I really noticing a real shift in myself that's allowing me to really observe and celebrate and unpack the things that come up. So I encourage you to if you journal, that's great. If you don't, try it on for size. But it's really important to have some form of contemplation practice to help
yeah,
you celebrate all the things that you've overcome, that you've dealt with, that you've achieved and experienced.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we've covered everything. My head goes, did we cover everything?
Well, if we start going back through the tips, it will probably fill them in lots
Yeah.
more. I'm running
So
out of
grab
room
your,
to write things on.
no, I know, so many of them. Grab your note-taking device, peeps, because we're gonna give you a condensed version of our podcast for tips to deal with stress and chaotic times. We're going to give you a condensed version ish.
Ish. Well, we'll see how this goes.
Yes, that's it. So grab your note-taking device. Here we go. Tip number 1 is not avoid.
Boy.
Not avoid.
Nope.
Not avoid. No avoiding. Let's just get straight into it. What you resist persists. It's my
Yep.
new saying.
Yep.
For the next couple of weeks. What you resist persists. So just don't avoid. Just go, okay, I've got something to deal with. Yeah.
And then that led us into hand on heart. And
Yeah.
you can say I love here, but always remember that you're doing this from there's a couple of things happening here, that you're calming your nervous system, but you're also accessing the wisdom that your heart has to follow it. Follow the guidance of your heart, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love even and Moira's said this many times, and I just happened to hear it today. Surprise, when she talked about hand on heart, it calms your nervous system. I'm like, oh, she's never said that before. Yes, she has. I've heard that many. Today, the hand on heart, I heard it calms your nervous system.
Yeah.
And if we go back through the podcast, it's probably said every single time. I'm just saying, but today, so I'm actually just going to add another tip in here, is you hear what you want to hear
when you're
the
ready
time
to. Yeah, when you're ready to.
and I know that wasn't a tip we said, but I just want to know that even just that, oh, why did I miss that before? Stop looking at the why. Oh, I hear it now. Perfect.
Yeah, so you just trust. I just get to flow and I hear it when I need to.
Yeah.
That's it.
Perfect. So I did just have a little thing on and another tip. But the next tip I've got here is actually I think this one was seen. I don't know if these are in out of order, is being seen, heard, and acknowledged.
Mhm.
You want to be seen, heard, acknowledged. I want to be seen, heard, acknowledged, and everyone around wants to be seen, heard, acknowledged. So it's holding that. Then I moved into the next tip. Yeah, which is the head, heart, higher self.
Yeah,
that was a whole separate one on its own. So everyone wants to be seen, heard, acknowledged. You don't have to agree with them, but just when you can see people, you can hear them, acknowledge them. It just allows your level of chaos to change. And that's also for yourself, because if you're not seen, heard, acknowledged, your chaotic levels go beyond.
Yeah. Well, that's when I said on this tip that it starts internally first.
Yes.
So you got to see, hear, and acknowledge yourself first. But then that's a nice segue to go back up to that head, heart, and higher self, because that's where I brought that in when I was saying that to me is one of the things that we're doing, or I'm doing, when I've got both hands on my heart. I'm speaking from my heart, but I'm making sure that I'm getting the alignment from my head, my heart, and my higher self, so that's what's coming through me. As opposed to, I got to work out this, right? When we're in stress and chaotic times, we're too much in our head. So that's one of the powerful pieces of that head, heart, and higher self, hand on your heart.
And I did have that written down, people. And I also wrote, they're all aligned.
They are all aligned. Yes.
Which brought me into the next tip I had was, their story is their story. It is not yours. You don't have to jump into their drama train or anything, which I also had an arrow going up. If you could see my notes, you'd be going, heck, Deborah, even it's causing me stress, just saying, look at where my notes are. And it had an arrow going up saying holding space for others, which I put under the head, heart, higher self, also seen, heard, acknowledged, and the hand on heart. So,
So tying them all together.
so holding space for others when you got your hand on heart, their story is your story, hand on heart, you know, but holding space for others, be aware that their truck that they're driving with all their chaos in it does not have to collide with your truck.
Yeah.
You've got your own stuff, being aware of that. And even Moira and I, skillful at what we do, we have our own truck. And when your truck comes into our world, we don't put your truck into ours. Our trucks don't crash. They're two separate trucks. We're skillful at that. Yeah.
Definitely. The next tip that I have here, and this is what I said, that you want to be checking in on your PEMS rating, because if you're feeling stressed and chaotic to a 10, you're not going to do this. But if you come down to around about a 5, is to check in and see what is the reflection of chaos in you. Because that can sometimes give us a space of clarity of, oh, this is feeling like chaos outside of me because I haven't attended to my own self-care needs or my own discombobulated, emotional, chaotic, crazy making thinking types of things, right? So it's like it can be some intelligence there to help you navigate it, to do the inner work first. So what is that chaos a reflection of for you?
And this is then the next one I had, or maybe it was part of that, I don't know. Was what do you desire? And that's when I said, I'll have that. And
that's right. And I was saying, wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to have that? And I was like, I'll have that. I'll just have that. I'll have that. So it's whatever you desire.
Yeah.
This is what comes from you. I don't know if that was part of the last tip or not, but I'm
that was a tip on its own.
Okay. Phew.
You're on track. You're on track. You're doing good.
I think I'm back on that track. So set your intention and what do you desire?
Yep.
Right. Now I think I'm back on track. My pencil's crossed off that one. Done. Okay.
Good stuff.
Stressful and chaotic times. By the way, that was me going, where are my notes? If you could see them.
Debz in chaos over there. The next one I have is, Debz said, life moves. This stress moves, chaos moves. Nothing's forever. Nothing's set in stone. Nothing's set in concrete. And so we can always pivot, right? So we can when we're saying, okay, I'm not going to avoid this. I'm going to tell myself the truth. I'm going to see, hear, and acknowledge what's going on. What can I do? Great, do this. What can I do? Nothing. Don't do anything, because it's all going to come out in the wash. And maybe it's time to change direction. Just say, this is not serving me anymore. That's okay. It's okay to do that.
Actually, I had to giggle because I just realized we haven't even got say no. That's a tip. Say no.
Yes. You have the right. You do have the right to say no.
You have 100% have the right to say no. Even to people who pay you to do jobs, you still have the right to say no. Like you can. So we're just going to add another tip in there.
Yep.
Use the word no and use it often.
It's a full sentence.
Full sentence. No excuse. No nothing. That's it. And it's done.
Yep. No one done.
And when I say no excuse, I messaged a lady recently I was talking to about doing this opportunity, and I didn't know she was on board. And so anyway, I just said, oh, how are you going with your decision? And she just went, I'm out, kiss, kiss. And I went, oh my God, I had such a level of respect for her before, but I had another level, because she didn't say, this is what's going on for me, I can't do this. There was no excuse. It just went, no, I'm out. Good. It was just, and I went, oh, a beautiful woman. My whole level went, I love that you just went, no. Yeah. That's it. No, I'm out. It was just,
you don't have to explain.
No, we think,
yeah, we think we have to justify or placate or convince somebody that this is why I'm saying no. But the other thing around no that I think is really important is no doesn't mean never. It just means, no, I've checked in with myself, my bandwidth, nope, doesn't work for me right now. That's good. But you can still be open to being requested of for that thing or that opportunity another time.
Yes. Yeah, Noah's not solid, or nothing's solid really.
No,
But it
I've
just
already
means
said
no,
that.
but I love that she just went, I'm out,
I
kiss
think
kiss.
that's awesome. That's
And
beautiful.
I just went,
Well, that's very confident too. A lot of confidence in there.
yeah, I hadn't had that decline in such a beautiful way.
Mm.
You know, it was just, oh, I've got
Beautiful.
this, I can't do this, and this is this, and da 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 da. Like this, but it's like, I'm out, kiss kiss. I was like, oh, I like you more now. I like that you've just done that.
Mm.
Yes. It was going to be a social media post, but I haven't. So there you go. I'm out.
Come out.
So when Moira talked about life moves, we mentioned acknowledging that you're in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And then the next one was trust, definitely. So you could put them both together or not, or whatever, but also just acknowledging is actually a separate one, because you're acknowledging you're in the right place at the right time. And then once you acknowledge it, then you can trust it and go, actually, it's truthful. Trust is an inside job, just like intuition, Moira says, but trust that you're doing the best decision, they're doing the best decision, and the life is doing the best decision for you.
Yeah. And so therefore you don't need to get into crazy making, thinking, stress, chaotic stuff in your head, because you can let go and say, I've got this. I don't know how to get out of it, but I know I wouldn't be here otherwise. Right?
Yeah.
The next one from this: acknowledge every situation that we're in, and trust that you will recognize the steps to take and the solutions. And perhaps the thing that you will recognize is that you need to reach out to Debz or Moira, or both.
Mm.
So what we were talking about there is to when you're feeling discombobulated and you need somebody to hold space or just be a sounding board for you, it's really important to reach out to somebody who can be neutral to you. If you reach out to somebody who's got a preconceived idea or an agenda, it can actually derail you and not be as calming and soothing and illuminating as it needs to be for you, right? So we walk our talk, and we are pretty darn good at what we do. What did you say? It's almost 80 years between us.
Almost. I think that just even freaks me out.
I know, it's kind of like, oh my God, I feel decrepit now.
No, this has aged me. It aged me. But 80 years of nearly 80 years of wisdom between us both.
Mm-hmm.
We can tell you we can tell you a lot of what we've done. We don't need
We've
to.
been around the block a few times.
Yeah. Moira's been around the block longer. Just saying.
That is true. That is true.
But we have, and we have certainty in what we have. We don't just, the tips we give you here in our podcast and in our mentoring is stuff that we live, breathe, and it works for us.
Absolutely. And it's through lived experience these have come about.
Yeah, yes, our experiences are not textbook experiences, our life experiences. Where you live quicker, faster, and at boot camp level, I'm just going to say, instead of reading it. The next tip I have is be mindful of others and their motives when you're talking to people, their agendas, what they're thinking. So just be aware of other people when you go to ask questions, share stories. I'm not
opinions.
saying
ask opinions or guidance. Yeah.
Any of that. I'm not saying don't, but I'm just saying be mindful. And it's a great example of saying to somebody, I've had this logo designed, I want you to look at it. And then you ask your 90-year-old mother and your 70-year-old father, well, there's an age gap there, Deborah, and your 50-year-old kids, there's another age gap there, whatever. But you're asking these people about this.
Oh, that's nice, dear.
Oh, that's a lovely color. I don't.
That's nice, dear.
Why would you use black? Black's such a mourning color, like a
mourning.
Like death, mourning,
yes,
glory. Or why would you use black? Be aware of others. That be mindful of others, and that's a loose way of saying your 90-year-old mother's not your market,
not your person. Yep.
Unless you're marketing for a 90-year-old woman.
True. Yeah.
And which sums up your mother in a different form because she's this, and this. It's not just her age. So be mindful of others and their their experiences that they're going to bring in.
Yeah, where they're sitting. What camp are they in?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if they're in a camp on their own.
They might be on their own.
Yeah, that's it. They're in a field on their own. Yeah.
The next tip I had was when you talked about the write it under the pillow. And that idea comes from when you've got some stress situation, write it down. And what you're doing is you're handing it off to your higher self, your guides, your unconscious to resolve it. So it's like you write down a problem or a question or a situation and just trust it's going to be resolved. And I love the story that Deb shared about this person who said, "Oh, it finally worked." And she said, how many times did you try it? Well, just the once.
I laughed because when and that brought us on to our next tip, but it was literally like, what do you mean it's not worked for you before? What?
Yeah, I know.
What? Because you done it? Oh, just once, just last night. Oh, right, okay. And which brought me on to the next tip. Right under the pillow is a great one. It's so simple.
It is.
The next one was don't assume.
Yeah, don't assume that just because they say, "Oh, it finally worked," that they've been actually doing it multiple times.
They've been doing it for years and years and years, every night for years. But don't assume people know what you're asking, what you're explaining. Don't assume that people are in the same mind frame as you. And that also goes back to our PEMS. If you've eaten 10 bowls of pasta, you're going to think differently of where you would if you've been having a salad for lunch or something. So don't assume that they're on the same level as you.
Definitely.
Because their
10 bowls of pasta.
I don't know. It's because we went to a restaurant on Sunday and I looked as everyone had pasta around. I'm like, I don't eat pasta, but I could do that. Pasta's my new, the last 2 days it's been in my head, pasta. I'm going to have some. Who eats 10 bowls of pasta? Your PEMS will be out of order if you're eating 10 bowls of pasta.
Certainly
I'm just
going
to tell you.
Certainly would be.
You will think differently. But, yeah.
The next tip I have is we discussed the 4 agreements, and that's when I brought in, and we'd actually really underlined this one, the just for today, just for today, just for this meeting, just for this chapter, just for this. I love that. Just for this, but just for today, I'm going to be impeccable with my word. Just for today, I will not take anything personally. Just for today, I will not make any assumptions. And just for today, I'm going to do my best. It makes it very much an honoring, and it makes it a flow. It's such a beautiful way to start your day. And just flow with that.
It literally just goes, okay, I can do this. It's achievable. In your head goes, you can do this just for today.
Just for today, I can do this. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sure. Sure, I'll be nice to my sister just for today.
Yeah.
But if you find you're not nice to your sister just for today, it's okay as well. It's okay to go just for today. Oh, I didn't. It's okay.
That's okay.
It's literally okay again. Yeah.
Yep.
The next one I had on here was be mindful of your story.
Yeah. Just your story creates more stress.
Oh, it's that story again. Here it is again. They do this all the time. Being mindful of that, which goes back to our very first tip of not avoiding. Again, just be mindful and go, oh, okay, here it is again. Interesting.
And sometimes just that acknowledgement is enough to let it go, right?
Oh, that can change your PEMS instantly and take you to a lower number.
100%.
Yeah.
The next one, and I think I'd still giggle that this comes so late down in our list, is to be thankful, be grateful for the situation, whatever this chaotic or stressful situation is. What can you be grateful for? What can you say? Oh, this is great. Look at what I get to play with here.
Yeah. What is it? And that's that whole celebrate. I love celebrate that you are here listening to this podcast, that we've given you, even just for today. Just take one tip.
That would be a great suggestion, is celebrate that you can run through these tips and choose one.
And even the original tips, and then the ones we've added in, and the ones that were out of order for Deborah with my stressful situation, my chaotic time. Is that all?
That was it.
That's all I've got.
That's all I've got. the final part was, yep, celebrate and be thankful. What
Celebrate
better
that
way
my
to wrap it up?
all chaotic times is, I've got it. We've done it. Thank you, listeners, for today. Thank you for signing in and listening to our tips to deal with stress and chaotic times. We value you listening to what we have and share with you, because we don't, this is valuable, that we just want to help you move in whatever you've got going on. At the start, we talked about our PEMs, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and we both said our numbers, and you said your number, and at halfway point you checked in, and now we're at the very end. We want you to check in again and go, where was my number at the start? Where was it halfway through? And where was it at the end? And if you didn't do the halfway point, that's okay.
That's okay.
It's
all good.
The intention is to have you shift. So we're just making sure that you've shifted from the number at the start to the number you had at the end. So Moira, where are you? Surprise, I know.
Surprise, 0. Yeah, we were both at 1.5. So I'm a 0.
Yeah, we were both 1.5. I'm a 0 too. I feel, although I would say I had my notes all over the place. Usually I have them going down. And today I went, I don't have much paper in front of me. I'm going to go one tip and then I'm going to go across the page. And I can tell you now, people, just for today.
That just created chaos.
Just for today, just for this podcast, it happened and it won't happen again. I'm not doing it. I had an experience and that's it. So
but you made it through. You made it through.
You could see my piece of paper, you'd be thinking, but I love that I've just gone, just for today, just for this podcast, I'm going to do it this way. No, next week I'm going to make sure that I have decent paper, that I don't have to go across, and I can just go down, and it allows my stress. So I've had that appreciation. I'm celebrating that, and I'm moving on. So let us know where your number was at, and if you like this, I'm just going to re-emphasize, if you like this, I'm going to give you, the next step is two tips. 1, share this conversation with others. Open up a conversation. Ask them about, how do you deal with stress and chaotic times? Share the tips that you have in here. Share the tips that you have. And the other thing, the next step I'd love you to do is actually book a call with Moira or I. Yep. I'm going to encourage you to book a call, just a 15-minute, 20, 30-minute call, whatever they are, a complimentary call for us to move you at a quicker space than you're at. We will meet you at your level. We will help you with what's going on, and we'll move you out of this place wherever you are. Now, you don't have to be a discombobulated 10. You can be a 2, or you can be a 1. We're still going to move you. You can be a 0. We're still going to move you.
Yep.
So that's your
it's real easy to book a time with us, because there's, in our Facebook group, there's a pinned post that actually gives you access to my calendar and Deb's calendar. Go click on that and you can book your time. Real easy peasy.
It's even super, super easy peasy. There you go. Super easy. So that's us signing off today for our tips to deal with stress and chaotic times. Thank you for joining, listeners. And thank you to the ones who have come back. Thank you to the ones who have referred people on. And thank you to the ones who actually took pen to paper and wrote the tips down. So just for today, just take 1 tip or 2, whatever you want. And thank you to the internet. But thank you, Moira, for helping this podcast move along in a flow.
Thank you, listeners. Thank you, dear Deb. We'll be with you next week. Bye.
Yes. Enjoy. Bye.
Bye.